Legends and super legends.
Hello.
Welcome to Veloharmony. Today we're commemorating the last week of the Giro d'Italia by wearing our sprinters jersey.
Yeah.
So we're going to be rolling out. Hope you guys get a chance to get your K's in. We're going to get some clips from you. We're going on another adventure.
Yep. Let's do it.
Let's roll, my brother.
On this ride, I put together a route that took us to a new town called Bedias, Texas. We went through Richards to get there, taking a more direct route. This is 149 to Richards, and then we took 1486 to Shiro, Texas. We learned the correct pronunciation of Shiro and even Bedias. I was pronouncing it Bedias because of how it's spelled. But once we got to Bedias, the lady that worked in the convenience store corrected us because, you know, we're chatting with her, trying to learn about the city. Came back through an area called Singleton. If you blink, you missed it. We actually didn't see any markings. At Roan's Prairie, we got on 2562, the FM 2562 back through Richards. We had discovered 2620, a new farm road on the way to Bedias, which was a lot of fun. So we found some new roads that we're going to create new routes out of to keep. And it's brought us back to the park. So it was a very, very epic ride. It was very hot today. Our warm weather has set in, so our days begin in the 20s.
Start the course.
I'm loading the course on the head unit.
I'm starting the course right here. Tell it to ride.
The channel got a new patron this week. I want to thank him for his generosity. Saki, welcome to the channel. He's a new Lion King. And he gets all the perks that comes along with it.
It's another warm morning, you know. Our warm weather has settled here. It's got to be about 23 C, something like that. About 75 degrees, 75, 78 degrees. But it feels nice. The wind is cool.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Park is lively today. we actually have people here. Usually it's empty.
Yeah, it looks like a tournament going on.
Yeah.
We have a team with their jersey on.
This park seems to only have baseball diamonds. You know, an entire park, nothing but baseball diamonds.
This is a 3.6% climb, my man.
Yeah.
3.7. 3.7, 3.94%.
Right off the gate.
We're warming up on a 4% climb, huh? Go figure.
What's that from?
Yeah.
There was a car on the right, Paul. The driver wasn't looking our way. Paul's letting me know to watch him.
4.3%, man. Nice. Oh, nobody's using this field over here. And the climb's over. You can feel it.
They need to put a couple of basketball goals out here.
So legends and super legends, we're going to a town called Bedias. That's the furthest town. We're going to go through another town called Singleton and Roan's Prairie. We're going to grab some clips for you guys.
That's it. Let's do this.
Let's do this, as MJ says.
Do this.
Oh my.
Yeah, as I said in the intro for the map, we learned that it's pronounced Bedias, like D-I-C-E, not as it's spelled.
There you go. We'll grab the warm up.
That's the cool thing about talking to the locals when you get there. And we learned that it's the town we went through a few weeks ago. It's called Shiro, not Shiro. It's pronounced with an I sound, not an E sound. So we learned that. you know, makes sense. It's kind of a cool name, Shiro. So it's good to talk to the locals when you get to an area. So there was no car coming when we left the park, so I just roll out onto the main lane here. But in a little while, I'll move over. We get a couple of cars. I pretty much can hear them. That's an old Giro jersey I've had for years, made by Santini.
Get the sweepers out.
I think this year the jerseys are being made by Castelli, I believe.
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah.
These are the sprinters jerseys we have.
Yep. Yeah, even when they clean the road, they sweep it on the side.
Got a couple of new highways we're going to be experiencing on this ride. Well, the main one really is 2620. We've never been out to Bedias. So it was a new excursion. Ended up taking longer than I had figured. It was just ended up being a harder ride, tougher terrain. I had programmed everything at 27 kilometers an hour for the average, but our average came probably around 23 overall. You know, we have sections of the ride where we go hard, and we have sections of the ride where we're chatting, messing around. But overall, I mean, it's still a good workout. But the main reason for it taking longer was really the terrain. There's just so many climbs.
Look like you stepped on something, man.
Paul got some kind of water on that touched him from my wheel.
Water?
I must have rolled over something that had water in it because the road's dry.
It was whatever it was. I got a piece of it on my leg here. I just want to make sure that the camera lenses is clean.
So he's checking the camera lenses. Make sure it's not, I must have gone over some little bottle that had water in it or something. I wish we had good lighting here. I wanted to show you guys how I sit in my saddle. And I say in for a reason. I am sitting in the saddle. The back tip of the saddle just supports you. You really don't touch it that much unless if you're climbing and you slide back. You should be inside the cavity of the saddle. That's really where they place the pads, especially on the high quality shorts. The pads are placed inside. They're not way up your glutes. You don't need pads there. You need the pads on your sit bones. So if you watch how I'm seated, I'm inside the curved area of the saddle because it's your sit bones, your hip bones that sit on there. That's what supports you. You're really just perched on that saddle. So all the weight's on your feet and the saddle just supports the rest of you. Allows you to be able to spin. I've added a video to the list to do soon, talking about why you pedal differently going uphill versus on the flats, and the different muscle fiber types and your propensity to spin versus use a lower cadence based on your makeup. I think it will be an interesting topic to deal with. I've completed the research and added it to my experience, and it should be a good topic. Because not everybody prefers the same cadence. We're all different. Your makeup determines that. You can train your cadence, but generally we have a preference. If you have a high propensity of fast twitch fibers, you're going to spin more. Slow twitch, your cadence will be slightly lower. That's just a natural thing. Doesn't mean that you can't train to pedal faster when you need to, but generally what you prefer will be different for each rider. Your optimal pedaling cadence. So yeah, we turn on Bailey Grove here as part of our warm-up. And in a short while, I cut to one of the roads we discovered from a different direction, called Bethel Road. I like those shorts that Paul got. They match the jersey very well. The red.
Yeah, those shorts look the business, man. What brand is that?
So it's called Ultra Made by Performance.
How's the chamois?
He compared the chamois to Le Coq Sportif because he has those shorts as well. That's what he said, Le Coq. So at this point in the ride, we're headed north on Bethel Road, which we've never used in this direction. And then we just discover, that in this direction, it's a climb where usually we're rolling down. You can see how it curves. About 2 to 3%. There's a dog over there bugging me. That's what I said. Really? You got a bunch of them. He's barking.
Yeah.
We're usually going south when we use this road, so going north. And that's one thing you need to try. If you have a course that you usually do one way, try it the opposite way and see how that works. You might discover some nice features. You have a long downhill in one way, that'll be a long climb the other way.
Stops and Bedias. I just want to see how it works. So let us know when we get near. Listen for water.
Yeah.
So at the 2-hour mark, I figured get some water. See if it's clear.
Since it's gotten hot, I'm leaning towards my cat-like helmet for the most part. It is the coolest helmet I have. You can literally feel the air on your scalp. There's a guy behind us I'm waving through. On these narrow paths, you kind of want to be aware of the other road users when they're coming. Kind of move over, just to be courteous. This road is narrower than a normal sized road. It's a smaller road, not as much traffic.
I have what I call happy legs.
So whenever there's a car, we kind of go single file so they can get by.
That happy legs is a good thing.
I don't like them passing me very closely. You see, I moved over a little bit as that guy was coming. It's not a full-size lane. That's another reason we don't ride with anything in our ears. You gotta know what's coming, you gotta know what's going on.
Yeah.
And hit the road.
I'm telling Paul I can see the sweat dropping off of me, and I saw the drop actually hit the road. When our humidity picks up, you can see that. I went through a lot of water on this ride. We stopped twice, and it was pretty much due to refueling for water. We had planned to stop in Bedias because that was 2.5 hours into the ride. Seemed appropriate. And then on the way back, we stopped near Johnson Road, an area called Dobbins, close to Dobbins, on the way back.
Yeah.
So even though we've used this road before, coming from it in the opposite direction gave us a different perspective. We're seeing climbs that we didn't pay attention to because we were rolling down them from the other direction. Of course, this downhill from the other direction was a climb. So it's good to mix up your route, change your direction. You can do the same route from a different direction and have a different experience.
I'm learning this place better now in neighborhood.
There's a bunch of cars for a change. It was like 3 cars, which is unusual. There's usually nothing out here. So we're heading north in this direction.
Here we go.
Probably northwest. More north than west, really. This takes us through part of the national forest. We're going to bypass through Richards and go out to Shiro briefly. Use 30 to go to 2620, undiscovered road. Somebody had asked me, I believe it was Robert Tengler, one of our legends, a supporter of the channel. He's also on one of our patrons. He's in the credits this week. He's already been signed up. He said, how do you look at, get to view the conditions, the road conditions and so forth? And I just wanted to note that what I've been doing lately is going to Google Maps and using the street view and then just scrolling and looking for the road I'm interested in. It has helped quite a bit identifying some of the gravel roads. The map is not perfect because it's only as good as their updates, but it's pretty reasonable. It's pretty decent. So that's what I've been using, is the street view on roads that I'm not familiar with, but I know for a fact that most of the farm to market roads that have 4 digits are paved in this state anyway, and it's probably consistent throughout the country. So the county roads are the ones that I look at to make sure we don't run into any more gravel. Now, as far as the traffic conditions, what I did reply to Robert was, if you find a sparsely populated area, that's not going to be the volume. And some people are concerned about the speed limit on the road. Well, actually, I would much rather have fewer cars passing me at higher speeds than a lot of cars at low speeds. And that's what we experience out here. We might get 2 to 3 cars every half hour, and that's great. Plus, out here, they give you a lot of room most of the time. Every now and then, somebody passes closer than you'd like, but it's not that frequent, and it's just better. So, I just wanted to mention that for those of you who may be hesitating venturing out. It's such a great thing to just go places on your bicycle. Don't just ride around in a circle in a park. Go visit places you've never been. I mean, within reach of your fitness, So we're having so much more fun. Plus, we're actually getting stronger. Since I've been riding these hills, when I do ride locally during the week, I am flying on my local course. So even though we're not coming out here and hammering ourselves, the fact that our base has now reached a higher level. So our zone 2, those of you who saw the RBC, even though Paul had a rough time, we were passing and catching people at our endurance pace. So just keep that in mind. And I need to make a note to do a video. I'll get these ideas as I talk about stuff, about the significance of your base training. I will call it base training levels. I'll make a video about that. That will clear up what I'm trying to get to, so I can't deal with it here. How base training's level vary. If you work hard enough, your base will be higher than somebody else's tempo or somebody else's zone 4. That's how the pros are. When the pros are riding 6-hour rides, it's fast for other people who are not at their level. So just keep that in mind. We do most of these rides zone 2 to zone 4. So, we hammer the climbs, we just ride the climbs, and whatever effort level it ends up being, we just get over the climbs. But what that ends up doing is when we need to go fast, our fast is very fast because we're doing a lot of riding. We're riding in tough terrain and we're riding a lot of hours. 4 hours is a long ride. 3 hours is a long ride. When you're tired, an hour is a long ride. So every little bit helps. Don't worry about the time you have. focus on the workout. You got 30 minutes, that's fine. Go for a nice spin. I'm calling Paul to the front here.
Look at that road.
Just beautiful. I mean, look at this road. This is a major U.S. highway. Highway 149. I don't know if it's U.S. or Texas highway. There's a difference depending on the funding. I got to do some research on the numbering. The numbering makes a difference. Look at this road. Nicely paved. This is Montgomery County. Nice pavement. You'll see the difference when we hit Grimes County before we get to Richards. The surface of the road is different. This is a larger county, so they invest more on their roads. They have a higher population. This edges through the national forest. A lot of motorcyclists come out here because of the reason we come out here. You don't have to stop. On the weekends, they're out enjoying themselves. I think somewhere around here there's a car. I don't know if it's right now or later, but a car was coming from the opposite direction. There was a guy behind us. He had been there for a while. And I ended up moving over behind Paul so the guy could get by because there was a car coming in the opposite direction. And he ended up passing, he moved over to the yellow line because he couldn't go over because the other car was coming. But with the wind when they go by, it seems closer than it actually was. But it's because of that effect of having a faster vehicle pass you in your lane. And a lot of times it can startle new riders. And because of that vacuum when they go by, it seems very close. Because the speed limit here is 55, so you know they're doing probably 60 or more. But he slowed down before he went by. But even with that, we're going into the wind here. It just seemed to be everywhere. You can hear it. I dubbed it down, but you can hear it. And so even Paul was like, he passed close by. I ended up later on explaining to Paul when we got to Richards that it was really my fault because by moving over, I invited him to pass like he did. So I probably should have just stayed where I was or where I had been. Yeah, right here. You see, it wasn't as close, but it seemed close when they go by at that speed. But I knew he was there. I had moved over to let him go because this car was coming the opposite way, just to get him by us. Because he'd been there for a while. And I figured he was going to wait till that car went by, but he just went ahead and used the available space that I provided. So really next time I'm just going to hold my position so he can move over more. Because he didn't slow down a whole lot. He probably went by around 50, but when he went by, that wind kind of sucked us along, That's what Paul was saying. And I'm telling Paul that. Okay, Paul's talking about the debris. There's another car behind us. We're taking the lane. Because of the debris, Paul moved over. So I told him there's a car there. And you see that guy used the other lane because I stayed close to the middle. I didn't move over like I did earlier. It's just something I wanted to point out. Sometimes when you move over, some of them will slow down as they go by. And he did. His speed wasn't that high. But it just surprised us because of the wind effect as he went by.
I can barely hear you. The wind picked up.
That's what I'm telling Paul, the wind picked up. It's blowing. And this road right here is going up. And it says 2%. It's probably, now it says 3. It just continues to go. And that's the thing about this route that we take. It's up and down. So you ride this kind of terrain, you will work out whether you want to or not. You'd have to be in a baby gear the whole ride, crawling along to avoid it. But we don't do that. We just ride. As a result, psychologically, we don't have to push ourselves. The terrain does it for us. Plus, it's beautiful. Between harassing the cows and everything else, we're having fun while working out. I understand that some people are afraid to ride. This guy is coming over right there. But I felt like, what is he doing? Then I realized, saw his signal. He's turning. There's a yard right there. He's turning. It's another cyclist going the opposite way. Both of them are turning. And in order to turn, he was coming over a little bit to move. But at first, when I saw him coming on, like, what is he doing? So I kind of moved to the right, but then I realized that he was turning because he turned right there where you saw him come over. You have to be paying attention all the time. You know, this is something we do.
I said I held the camera to the ground like this, and it finally adjusted.
Yeah, on this ride, because of what we're trying now, we're turning on the camera first, and then we turn on the gimbal, and that has really helped keep the gimbal's calibration stable during the ride. And so on this clip, it actually filmed upside down, so I had to switch it around when I was doing post-production. That's what Paul was experiencing, but he was not aware. So the camera was actually upside down, so when he lowered it, it leveled itself because the calibration was a little off. That's what he was experiencing. You can see how this is framed. So what I explained to him later is that the gimbal's adjusting the frame for us. When you get close to somebody, the gimbal will tilt up. When you back off, it will level, depending on how it's bouncing on the frame or on your handlebars, however you're holding it. It keeps adjusting, and that's why we're not touching it. We're letting this do its thing, and you can see how well this is framed. Paul's close because we're in the wind and we're moving. It takes a while for the heart rate to catch up, so my heart rate is coming up, but it's trying to catch up, but we're moving here. That's a slight grade there. Yeah, now it says 1. You feel it more than anything. And all I do is I make sure I'm in the proper gear.
That climb back there was long.
We had a long climb before this stretch. I'm telling him about the new FM that we're going to find, a new farm. Right here, Grimes County. Look at the surface of the road. There's nothing wrong with this surface. A little rougher. You have to work a little harder. Rattles a little more. Small little imperfections. But it's a big difference. The other one was really smooth. Grimes County does not have the population of that Montgomery County has. They don't have the funding to invest, which is why we come out here. The town we're going to visit, Bedias, has a whopping 457 residents from the last census. I believe in the 2016 census. 457 people said they lived there. You know, that's like nothing. I made a joke later. Tell Paul, even if all of them came to drive today, there would still be less people that pass us where we live when we ride in the city. So we get a car. This road is relatively busy, and we maybe get a car every few minutes, maybe every 5 minutes you get one car, which is still not much. Some of the roads we're gonna come on and encounter today, we got like 3 cars maybe in 45 minutes of riding. I mean, this area is a godsend. It's close relatively. I mean, you know, we're driving about an hour to get out here to experience this, but it's worth it. You get to use the road with, you know, not always competing for road space, and you just get to ride. Listen to that wind. It's out there. We're outside the town of Richards, Texas. Nothing behind us. And just because these roads are quiet does not mean every now and then there isn't some jerk that comes by. It's just not frequent. When that does happen, we do not encourage the negativity. Let's see how I can put that. In other words, if somebody's behaving like a butthead, it takes two to keep it going. We just let them be. We stay out of their way as much as possible. If they didn't hit us, no fuss, no muss, we just keep riding. We don't participate. And they have to move on. That's the way you want to do it. Somebody acts like a jerk to you on the road, just chalk it up to misery, liking company, and don't join that company. I'll talk about it later in the ride. When we get a real nice farmer, he comes by, he greets us with his horn, and we talked a little bit about that. Somebody's miserable, they're looking for company, don't encourage that.
Go back, see which roads work, which roads didn't, and I'm going to clean them up, you know?
Yeah.
The first time we're doing this like an experiment.
Right.
Right now it says, well, of course, they want us to take that road. Well, I don't trust that road.
Yeah.
I don't trust it to be paved the whole way.
When I did the route, it was trying to give us a more direct.
Yeah, I remember filming these roads last time we
You
came
see the
through
roads
here.
are all gravel in the town.
It wants us to go because that was the shortest route.
Yeah. They wanted us to go through the town. So the next time we come through here, we'll check out that road, make sure it's paved because it is more direct. Because really, this is just on the way to where we want to go. And most cyclists come through here. I don't particularly care for stopping here that much. The store here, the people have a.
Yeah, the guy that came close, I think it was my fault because I moved over. He didn't move, and I shoot him.
I'm telling him about that car that passed close in our lane.
Yeah.
I knew he was there, so I kind of moved over. There was another car coming.
Yeah.
Just stay where you are.
There's a car behind. I told him to just stay where he is. I'm riding on the shoulder so we can chat. This is Richard's Grocery, and what I was saying was we don't like to stop here because they act like, well, the vibe I get is like we're a nuisance. And I'm not going to patronize any business that does not welcome me. That's just my thing. So we only stop there if we absolutely have to.
We're gonna find a new road out here. It's telling me I'm off course. They wanted me to take that back road. That's
We're
gravel.
outside of Shiro, Texas,
End up there,
heading towards Highway 30.
about 2-3 kilometers off of 90.
So I'm telling him about Roan's Prairie. We're going to come back through Roan's Prairie, which is west of here to the left. Right now we're headed north. We're going to turn right and go east on Highway 30. And we're looking for a farm to market road, the FM 2620, north to Bedias. Shiro's one of these towns. If you blink, you miss it. This is it.
Come on.
It's the main drag here.
Watch these tracks. Car back. Okay. This is where we stopped that time to discuss the gravel.
Yeah.
This is 230. This is red top.
Yeah.
FM road up there will take us north. Bedias.
Yeah.
That's where you saw the Huntsville sign.
23 miles from here.
This is the same highway we used when we went to Huntsville, but it's further east of here, and of course it was much smoother and nicer. So Walker County probably spends more money than Grimes. We're in Grimes County right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a major highway and it has a climb. Look up the road. That's the road going up the tree. So when I I do the map and I do the course on Garmin Connect, it tells me. I waved this guy over, but it ends up there are 3 of them, and he waited because he didn't want to come around here on the bridge. They end up passing in the other lane, which was nice. We're using 1/4 of this lane. This is still Shiro, Texas. We're leaving town and heading east towards the direction of Huntsville, and we're going to turn north in a few kilometers. Probably 6 kilometers. FM 2620. This has been edited for time. Content is the same. This road goes up here, you can pretty much see it. And because the shoulder is so crappy, you can see the little imperfections, the grooves that they put there. So that if you're in a car or whatever and you're leaving the road, it basically alerts you that you're leaving the lane. And to the right of it, it's just not conducive to right there. So if it were, we'd be there. So we're using the road here. We're using this piece of the lane. They pretty much have to move over, whether they want to or not. A lot of them, when there's no passing, they have a tendency to stay in your lane. But it takes some getting used to. New riders are not comfortable around fast traffic. I don't pass cyclists in their lane when I'm driving because I don't know their skill level. Even if they seem to know what they're doing, you know, waiting for 5 or 10 seconds till the road is clear to move over is not the end of the world. So I just don't bother. There's nothing going on in this world that is so critical that I have to be there in an instant. So, you know, I leave with plenty of time. If I get there a little behind, I let the people know I'm going to meet, that I'm running behind. That's it. I'm not going to be stressed out about it. In the larger scheme of things, it's not that critical. Just have a different mindset. That's all. I give myself plenty of time usually, but stuff happens. There are things you can't control. You can leave home on time and run into a road issue. There's the FM 2620. That's the sign. It tells us the junction's coming up. They usually put that about maybe a half kilometer or so before the intersection. You can see the sign says Bedias over there. That road goes to Bedias and nowhere else. If you're on 2620, you're going to Bedias. You're going north. Or you're coming back to 30. That's it. This is the road.
Look at that bad boy. Yeah.
And it's well paved. Well paved and rarely used. Look at that road up there. That's at the tree line. That's the elevation. So we're climbing.
2620, huh?
You wrote.
So this one's a keeper. You know, got to get on a little busy part of 30 to get here, but it was worth it.
Coming into Singleton, Rose Prairie.
Yeah.
We'll
That's a
probably
climb.
pass, let's see, it's 151 at the duration right now. We'll probably pass by maybe 3 vehicles. And we're on this road, I would say, more than 30 minutes. I'm gonna time it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna count the cars. They're all here. I did not edit this
You
for
ready in the
content.
mud?
So we got on there 151 duration. We'll see how long we stay on there.
Yeah.
Since we're using the whole lane, you see me look behind from time to time because with the wind, sometimes you can't hear very well. So if you're out on that side where I am, it's your responsibility to kind of look back, just as a courtesy.
Hey, this big.
Look at these boys. Hey, man. Look at these guys.
There was some unusual looking
Look at
cows
that
that had
one.
long ears.
Looking at us like we're borrowing money. What's up, boy?
They were looking
going
at
on?
us. I mean,
What you guys working on?
just standing around.
Yeah, turn around. Aggressive guy.
Look
What's
at
up?
Look at that one coming close. Yeah.
So finding a road like this, you can use most of the road. I mean, I still stay on the right, what I call the right quadrant. Maybe quadrant is not the right word. The right half of the lane. It's an old Ford truck. Chevy. I'm not sure what model it is, but one of the older models. A lot of older trucks, people are still using them on their farms out here. You can see the road goes up. No question about it. We're going north and the whole thing is going up. This entire journey was a change in elevation.
Yep. Yeah. It's coming. Carbine. Yeah.
That's the second car. Make a note
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
The guy was basically saying good morning.
Yeah. Even the way he tapped his horn was friendly. Yeah. He didn't go beep. Yeah.
We're talking about how the attitude of these people out here is so
Yeah.
different from people in the city.
Yeah.
People have crappy jobs. They hate their life. That's why they're on the road, man.
And I basically assume that they like their lives, they're happy people. That's why. And most of the people in the city are just miserable.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. And that's what I talked about earlier. Misery loves company. Don't
Yep.
indulge them. They act like butts on the road. As long as they don't hit you, let it go. Wish them well. Keep riding. Don't let them ruin your
Don't
ride.
bring it to me.
Let them be miserable. Don't let them make you miserable.
Go do whatever you came out here.
So that's the only explanation why they have a problem when people are on the road using the public road. They think that some of them have this attitude like, you don't belong there. Like, who the heck told you the road belongs to you?
Yeah.
You know, when you die, the road will still be here. You know, you don't own anything. You just get to use it.
Misery loves company.
Yep.
So I don't join that company.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm telling Paul. I don't participate in that. You're miserable, that's your problem, not mine.
Look at this room.
I didn't make you miserable. Make better choices. Quit trying to own everything. Quit trying to own stuff, and you'd have more time to
This is a
live
keeper, man.
It only goes to
instead of accumulating crap.
That's why they have the sign Bedias. There's nothing else. This goes into Bedias.
That's it.
That's it.
Take
We
a
take
look.
90 when we get to downtown. The name becomes Main Street in Bedias.
Uh-huh.
This one. Even if the whole town passed us today, it's still less than where we live. 407 people registered.
You didn't have to put it like that, man. I know.
It's still less than the number of people passing out was really stupid. If the whole town decided to drive at this moment, we're still gonna have better situation.
I'm telling him where we ride near our home, we got
But that's why these roads are
hundreds of
quiet.
people passing us. So these guys only got 457 people registered from the census. If the whole town passed us, we still have more fun because they'll be done.
Yeah.
Whereas where we live, we got, Houston area, you got what, 3 million people? I mean, it's just,
Nice road, man. It looks like they don't use it much.
yeah. This is a state farm road.
Yeah.
It's in good condition. Lightly used, I mean.
Yeah.
We've been on the road for about 10 minutes. We've been passed by 2 cars. So if you split it, that's a car for every 5 minutes so far. And it's going to change because we're not going to be passed by very many cars. I'm tracking it right now. Just like in the old
You're
West.
gonna see the birds and trees
The plains, the
and
prairie.
they just having land over here.
Got some burnt out stumps in that pasture. That's what Paul's talking about. The old trees died, they burned them out. I'm telling him that in the winter it's cold up here. Because we're north and then all the trees, see the vegetation that's casting shadows on the road. It's cold out here. In the winter, you got to dress warmer than you think when you're coming up north here. Look at these guys.
Look at that one is running, following us. Look at those. Look up back there. Yeah. You blend in, man. It's like you're not seeing me.
There was a horse hiding over there. I mean, a cow, not a horse. And I told him, I see you out there. That's what Paul's talking about. He's blending. He was standing in the shadows and he's black. So I see you.
Yeah.
You think we got choices now?
Yeah.
This entire time we're climbing, it says 0, but it's more like 0.7. And you can see the road going up. It's going to increase. Right here it starts to go up a little more. I think somewhere here I stand up just to kind of change the way I'm using my muscles. Yeah. You should be able to do that. You should be able to stand without breaking your rhythm so the person behind you does not get shocked by your rear wheel falling back. One motion. And sit.
Reason we got congestion is look at the neighborhood.
Yeah.
How many houses are packed in there?
Yep. Just packed like
So we're in zone 2. This is our conversational zone.
You got one farm with acres.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the congestion with the huge subdivisions and all the people that live in our area. That's why the congestion. There's a lot of people. The same with any area. So coming out here, finding a sparsely populated area, it's just a better workout, period. You don't need to think much about it. Just find roads that are near small towns or, few residences. It will be quiet. I can't get a workout where I live because there's a stop sign every 50 yards, it seems like. And you don't want to be running them because there's a lot of people that live there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get a better workout on my trainer. Since we've been climbing for so long, I mix it up. I stand for a while. What it does, it relieves the way you're using your muscles. It actually feels good. You see my cadence in the 70s. Just get a rhythm. I think I stood for a bit.
It's actually the biggest truck, man.
It's like a break without stopping.
Yeah. Look at them coming.
There's two dogs
those
over
dogs
there,
coming.
very hairy. In the summer, it's got to be rough on them. I don't know what it is about bicycles. The dogs just love chasing them. If it's the wheels, I think it's a combination of the wheels and the sound from the drivetrain. They seem to know you're coming before you get there.
Here's the road to Bedias. Bedias, Texas.
This is before we found out it was called Bedias.
Yes. The open road.
Pronounced like ice.
This sideways holding this stuff works, man. Even out of the saddle. Far back.
So I just was curious, and while editing, I just went online and typed in the Google search engine. I said, "Why do dogs chase bicycles?" And I'm just going to read this.
I'm doing the other side instead of the side with the cavity.
Yeah.
As long as it's sideways, doesn't
It
matter.
says, when a car or bike or a child on a skateboard whizzed by a dog, their prey instinct can be triggered and they are off to the races. When dogs see something that is running away, in quotes, from them, their natural instinct is to chase it down. But just because the urge to chase is natural does not mean the behavior is okay. And then they talk about training your dog. So that's good to know. That's just something in their natural makeup, DNA. You get in the way, I'm going to chase it down. That makes sense. So it's an instinct. They can't help it. You're getting away from them, they're going to chase you down. We got a couple of dogs later on this road. There's a hill again. We spot that, and we're all excited.
That's a nice climb.
And so we decide to do a little bit of work on this stretch.
That's why I started it when we got the Shiro. We got the map that showed it. That's where the action was. Even 30 had come.
So Paul picks up the pace here. This is why the road is nice in the summer. You see the shade from the trees, and this is why it's cold in the winter. Vegetation keeps the temperature down. So we didn't really get super hot until we got on Highway 90. Highway 90 does not have as many trees close to the highway. This farm to market road is just beautiful. You had nice climbs, and then you had plateaus. You had some stretches where there was just a drag. You know, you could just have different cadences and different efforts.
3.6.
I'm giving him the grades here.
3.9. 4.8, 4.9. More ahead.
Right about here lessens a bit. You see the shade. It's nice. You're riding in the shadows of the trees. When it's hot in the summer, even if I stop at a red light and there's a tree or something nearby that's casting a shadow on the road, I try to stop in the shadow of that tree or object. It does make a difference. You're going to be standing there for 30 seconds or 45 seconds. So the pace is up. It's hot and heavy here. I'm in the draft. I'm sitting a little to the left of Paul. And we're moving. And I think somewhere soon, Paul spots this big snake that's been killed. It's on the road. And that's one thing out here, this area, apparently they have a lot of snakes in the area, because even at the store the lady mentioned that. And we got the Bedias. But right there, that's a snake. It's a good sized snake. He said snake, I said, yeah, let's go. We have a rhythm. I wanted to keep riding. So we've been passed by 3 cars since we've been on this road. We've been on the road for, let's see, 26 minutes. 3 cars so far. That's why it's worth coming out here. That's why even the pros, they select where they go train. They don't want to deal with traffic. You're not going to get a workout training in town. It requires too much attention. Too many people coming in and out off the road, making mistakes, just in your way. This is where you want to train. And I put another thing on my list to make a video about why you should train and not just ride. That's something that will be coming out too. Because we train, we work on things. And it doesn't matter. You don't need to be racing to train. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to train for that. You're trying to get faster, you need to train for that. You just want to get overall fit, you need to train for that. That's why I call it training. It's not just for people who are competing. Train means you need to have structure. You need to have a purpose when you get out there. You want to lose weight, there's a certain kind of riding you need to do. So the wind's picking up, the grade's there, you can see the road up ahead going to the left and it's going up. That's why our speeds come down a little bit. If you look at Paul's hands, they're relaxed on the bars. He's not grabbing anything. It's just resting there. I cannot stress enough. When your bike fits you, you don't fight it. You just ride. You relax. The harder you go, the more relaxed you get. You can see he's just resting his hand on the curb of that bar. You don't have a lot of weight. The weight's on the pedals and your seat. In fact, the faster you go, the more you unweight the bars. And that makes it easier to increase your cadence. The road went up a little bit here.
Depending on where you hold the camera, it will tilt up. That's fine. It's adjusting the shot. So you don't just get the road cut off the person's head. Like right now it's tilted up because of where I'm holding.
We're getting close to the sweet spot here. I don't know if this is, this is where I come to the front. Paul, I've been pulling for a while. We're in the middle of nowhere, and the road might as well be a closed course. So after almost 30 minutes on the road, 3 cars passed. Because it's windy, that's why I'm in the drops. I've lowered my torso a bit, and I just wanted to change my position from being on the hoods, because I'm mostly on the tops of the hoods in rolling terrain. And right here is relatively flat. Hear that thing whistling, and you see our speeds going down, the wind's picking up. We're still near sweet spot, so I'm trying to keep the effort right around there. That's car number 4, and we've been riding for 40 minutes. Almost 40 minutes, 4 cars. 36 minutes, I say, 36 minutes. Yeah, it says 1%. I was just gonna say this road is going up at this point, as I remember. And all I do is, the wind is picking up, the road is going on a grade, and I just try to remain smooth. You watch my feet. I wish you would get a side view. It's like I'm scraping something off the bottom of the shoe. I'm pulling back. Make sure each leg does its part. The reason I spend the time going over these techniques as you watch the video is because some people think that you can just, I'm just gonna go ride. Yeah, well, you can just go ride. If you're not training, that's the emphasis. If you're not working on anything, you're not gonna improve that much. You won't even be aware of your improvement. So you have to have focus. You can't just go do anything. You're not just cycling. If you're a boxer, you can't just go to the gym and just hit the heavy bag. You got to work on your speed. You got to work on your jabs and different things. So you got to have things you work on each workout. So every time we go out, there's a different emphasis. So the people I coach, they tell me what they want to work on, and then I emphasize 2 rides a week where they're really trying to put things together. And then other rides, they do drills. You know, most of them they do a lot of what I call base training, because the average person doesn't do enough base training. Everybody wants to go fast. And I'm going to be making a video of why you should not train hard all the time. You're not going to improve if you're hammering yourself all the time. It can actually set you back or lead to burnout. And when you do go hard, it's a certain kind of hard. What I call pushing your threshold. And believe it or not, bass will push your threshold. I'm basically unzipping my jersey. I'm getting hot. It has a 3/4 zip, so I'm pulling it all the way down. The quality jerseys allow you to do those adjustments with one hand. You should not have to use both hands unless something's jammed the zipper. On a hot day, I welcome the wind. Yeah, I'm asking Paul what the speed limit was because I saw this one said 60 up ahead. You know, going forward is 60. So he said it was 55. The section that we've been on. Kind of roads you can pretty much ride at any speed. I don't think there are any officers out here in the middle of nowhere. That's where 60 is starting. So that's what that sign means. It's such a sparsely traveled road. You're not gonna have officers camped out here unless it becomes a problem and the people complain about it. But we were passed by a whopping 4 cars. I don't think any officers are gonna come hang out here for speeders. There ain't enough people using the road. Not worth the hassle. And we hear a dog, a couple of dogs that start barking. So Paul takes off. And so I'm looking, and I think I told him not today. Yeah, that's outside of Bedias there. So I told him to film them. There they are. There's one in the grass, one in the middle. We passed them. They couldn't keep up.
They came out on the road.
And that truck went by. They got off the road. They're in the grass now.
There were 2 of them.
That's the thing about that. You know, you have your dog coming out on the road. They can get hit. And so, you know, these owners need to watch it. We're outside of Bedias, or Bedias, I should say. I keep saying Bedias. It's Bedias, Bedias, Texas.
Big cemetery for a little town.
Yeah.
Look at the size of this cemetery. There's only 457 people registered as residents. They got a huge cemetery. It's a pretty.
Yeah. It's 1696. That's the road we hit the other day.
1696.
550.
I'm telling Paul we're coming up to 1696 because that was the road we used when we were going to Huntsville. It took us to 75.
1696 was a highway at the.
So I suggest to him he might want to start studying these routes so he can get the picture in his head.
You gotta go back and study these courses, man. Oh, this area.
Because on the Garmin, after you ride somewhere, it keeps a map. There's a little dog there. Paul's telling me to look at it. Look at it.
Oh, please.
He opened on the full throttle.
I mean, he was running full speed. Fast little guy. It's that natural instinct because we're running away from them, I guess.
Yeah.
We're in town. We're in Bedias, Texas.
Look at that big German Shepherd. Yeah.
This is where 2620 hits 1696.
Yeah.
1696 is the road we use further east of here when we went to Huntsville. This becomes Main Street. So back in the day when the boys would come into town,
Took it that way, but it took us to 75.
That's 1696 right here. Okay.
And so this is the main street. There's a church right there.
Yeah.
There's all the points of interest as you look up the town. And Paul even spots the post office.
Yeah.
So this 1696, after several miles, becomes a gravel road near a town called
That's the
Iola.
post
But we
office.
don't go that far. The U.S. Post Office.
Similar to Shiro, man.
This
Yeah.
is before we found out it was pronounced Shiro. And we find out at this stop at the,
Yeah,
I think
there
it's a
it is.
Chevron. Welcome to Bedias. Bedias.
Look, another stop sign with
Bedias, Texas.
lights.
It's pronounced much differently than it's spelled. It's pronounced like ice.
I think the
Bedias.
resale store.
Everybody's at the resale store today. We got
you're
three
right.
cars, three whopping cars at the resale store. So this is Highway 90 right here, where it intersects 1696 that we're on. 2620 has ended. We're now on 1696, and we start to discuss the sign across the road there that has an arrow going left for 1696
And it goes to 1696
to the
that
left.
way. And it's the same.
This 3500, this is 1696, just a junction.
Oh, it's
So how
just
they continue?
yeah.
So these highways continue. So this is 90,
I see.
1696
Okay.
ends here. Then if you go left, 1696
If you turn
begins
left,
again.
We'll come to another piece of 1696.
Yeah.
So you take 90 here, go down, we'll continue. So 90 is the where we're going back.
Right.
If we stayed on 90 and then turn, it will go this way and go west to Anderson.
Right.
But we're not going that far. We're going to take another way. Come on. We're going to take 90 to 30. Is it 30? Yeah, 90 to 30.
Yeah.
Then we'll take 30 to 25. Right now we're west of 2562, remember?
Yeah.
Where it hits 140.
Straight up into Navasota.
This is where we get water. So this is 90. There's 1696 continue.
Yeah. You
Exactly.
see, that's where I saw the sign. It said turn this way, and then it goes that way. 1696.
We can do an extra on this one.
That's a Chevron up there. You want to check that one down there?
Which one?
Right here.
Yeah, that's fine. It's showed up on the map, so we have a place to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And this is more than, this is 2 hours, 2.5 hours around.
Yeah.
Perfect time to do it.
That looked like it has enough traffic there.
Exactly.
Yeah, more.
So this is 1696.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay on 90. On the map, you can see the shoulder.
Yeah.
On the map, I could see the shoulder the whole way.
Man. Yeah. This is significant, man. Look at the size of
Remember
that.
we rode 90 into Anderson on that
Yeah.
ride? It had a shoulder there too. But on the map, when I looked on here, I could see this shoulder.
Wow.
I was telling Paul I could literally see the shoulder when I did the street view for 90. And that shoulder you saw, we enjoyed that for miles on end. All the way into Rome's Prairie where we hit Highway 30. Wide shoulder the entire way.
Yeah.
The ramp here is all twisty. I'm like, who the hell want to deal with this in a wheelchair? It should be straight like this. And I had to
What's the
unclip
point
to
of
go
it?
around.
Switching it.
Most places just make the
I'm going
entrance
down there
smooth
where
at the door.
there is a room.
So people can just roll in. Somebody in a wheelchair doesn't want to be making all those turns. You've got all these catty corner ramps.
Yeah.
So we usually put our bikes near a window so when we're inside we can see it if both of us are going to go inside. So we put it right there where we can see it. We'll always remove our head units off the bike and put it in our pocket. We end up going inside without our bottles. I'm not sure what we're thinking. It's like,
See, because I could put my phone right there. This pocket is pretty much just the two.
All right.
Just the two. No, let me get my. We got the bottles, man.
Oh.
Well, you notice as soon as we opened the door, the lady said hello.
There you go.
I was like, okay, that's a nice reception. We don't get that in Richards.
Yeah, we can.
They'll take your money.
Yeah, we need to change the battery anyway.
So yeah, that was a good stop. That's the lady that taught us how to pronounce
We're a few miles
Bedias.
south of Bedias and on Highway 90.
Now look at that shoulder. We have this thing
And
entire.
look at that hill.
We're outside of, at this
Look
point,
at this shoulder, guys. We had this for miles.
yeah, we're outside of a
Highway
town
90,
called Rooms
not a
Prairie.
gym.
We've passed
We've
Singleton.
ridden on parts of it, but further south. Left a town called Bedias. Glad I got the name right. Got a little watering hole over there. Sleepy. This is a major Texas highway, but traffic volume low. The town of Bedias we left has like 457 people registered there for the last census. Nobody there. Sleepy. Everybody's got their own private ponds and stuff. A small lake.
We basically
Wind.
loaded our bottles. I
Yeah,
drank while I was in the
it's,
store. It's hot. 35 C.
95 degrees Fahrenheit,
Yeah,
which is like 33 C.
35.
And but with the wind, it feels nice right now.
Yeah,
So
we're
I'm
going-
really enjoying this.
breeze is a nice.
There
The
you go,
breeze,
my brother.
the breeze felt somewhat cool, but it was still hot. And I was just going through water, so I drank at the
That's the
store
hill.
and put the
I'm
bottle. I think I
happy.
talked about it here on the ride.
These are the folks.
You don't want to not drink because your body temperature will go up, your heart rate will go up. You start getting too hot, your heart end up pumping more blood. I ended up drinking
Yeah.
almost 5 bottles.
That I drank when we were there.
It was 500.
I drank in the store and I loaded my bottles.
Yeah.
So about 2,500, maybe
Got one bottle of
3,000
water.
milliliters of water.
Electrolyte. Let me see
5
this
to
climb.
6 bottles. This is a long climb. We're just easing into it. We've been chilling
There it
for
is.
miles. After the
Let's
stop,
run
we
it.
just kind of rolled and enjoyed the shoulder. It was as if to say we had our own road.
Nice and long. That's it. Yep.
Gotta be near single. That's why the cars get deep.
Still climbing.
Oh yeah. Long for a while too. About halfway. A lot of the car problems happened back then, not here.
Yeah.
After going over the climb, we kind of felt awake after the stop, so we decided, okay, we don't even have to discuss it. We just go, because for several miles we have been just kind of rolling and chatting after the stop. lot of debris on this section here. Dead animal we just passed. At this point of the ride, my feet felt hot. I told Paul about it later. I said, man, even my feet were hot.
That little house with 2 cows,
Yeah.
that's just to get that tax exemption.
Yeah.
There ain't no much of a pasture.
We passed a house that had a small yard with
They
2
know what they're
cows
doing
in it.
out
And it was obvious that's no pasture, like the size of an average front yard. But they do that to get the agriculture exemption on the land, which lowers your taxes. You know, because those cows looked like they were eating gravel. There was nothing in that yard. But they got their 2 cows out front, and they had the house right there by the highway. So this is another keeper. This highway here had a nice climb, and just look at this shoulder. This highway goes to a bunch of towns. It goes to Anderson, and then if you keep going south, it goes to a place called Navasota, which is noted for a lot of climbs.
Almost like a 4-hour mark.
Yeah.
The biggest thing to be aware of, you're riding in these kind of conditions, you can see it's sunny. There's no hiding from the sun. You need to pay attention to how you feel. Make sure you're getting enough liquid. That's why really I have a full bottle of water, and I've got 1 bottle of electrolyte. The water is primarily to pour on my neck if necessary, if I get too hot, because it can lower your body temperature. We had another stop, which we didn't film after this, almost on the way back to the park, where I just basically took a gallon of water, just poured it on my hat. We bought a gallon of water, and it just lowers your body temperature. You don't want to overheat, because then your performance suffers. Because your body will use the energy to keep you cool. Having my zipper down that night, the breeze felt nice. Cows are sitting under the tree. They got it figured out. They're not sitting in the sun. picking up. Now I'm in the drops, trying to keep the effort the same, and by lowering my torso a little bit, our speed doesn't drop too much. This highway is very conveniently located because most of the places we want to visit, you can use this highway to get to it. What I like about it is the fact that even though it's a major highway, the volume of traffic is low and it's got this wide shoulder for miles on end. And it just stays there, like that's just the way they built the entire stretch. So we're going to be using it frequently. I mean, different sections of it, depending on where we're going. But it's nice to know it's out here. So you find these kind of roads and you make that a choice because it's got climbs and then it's got a nice wide shoulder. This is Roan's Prairie. We're hitting a city here.
College Station on the right, Huntsville to the left.
Yeah.
Navasota straight ahead.
So yeah, so Highway 30 is coming up, and we're in a town called Roan's Prairie. Another one of those, if you blink, you miss it. We're going to be going left for about maybe 1.5 kilometers, and then we'll take 2562, the FM 2562. We've ridden that before, but from the other direction. It seemed harder in this direction. So I move over here where those ridges end. I move over, so we're turning left. It's a four-way stop sign. They got lights on the stop sign here as well.
Come on.
I asked Paul if he needed to stop.
2562.
2562.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
So I asked Paul if he wanted water.
Okay.
So I said maybe we'll stop in Richards. We ended up not stopping in Richards. We're stopping near Dobbins, further down, and just got a gallon of water and refilled our bottles and headed out. Some of these small towns, the stores try to be a little tricky. The lady was literally trying to sell ice out of the fountain machine, just a general machine, where everywhere else is free. So we, of course, we did not buy that. Just got cold water and left. So another caveat emptor. I mean, I don't understand how you're going to sell ice. The ice maker uses water. You're running a fountain where, so what do? You sell the ice if I'm buying Coke? That's just something she added because she knows that cyclists come in there and they just need ice. We don't drink soda. So it was just good to know. This is 30. This is the same highway we use, but it's further west. This is actually even before Shiro. This is Roan's Prairie, and we're heading towards 2562, which will take us towards Apollonia, which will wrap up the ride.
Right there.
Yeah. This is at 2562.
see the hill in the distance over there, where the road kind of curves to the left. We spot that. And of course the wind has picked up. So the key with the kind of riding we're doing here is you have to pace yourself. When you're riding, this is right now at the 4 hour plus mark. You're riding 4 to 5 hours, but they're riding like 5.5 hours. You have to make sure you have enough left for later in the ride. Otherwise, a very little hill can kill you when you're really dead tired. So you got to really make sure you spread the effort properly. Pacing is key. The last hour or so of the ride is when really I like to work hardest. These guys come out on the motorcycle for the same reason we come out here. Open road. There's a guy behind them with a motorcycle on the back of like a spare motorcycle or something. I told Paul, I said, I've seen that vehicle on this ride. We saw him earlier, hours ago, near Richards. You can hear the wind. So as we climb, we're going into the wind. So I'm on the shoulder, Paul is on the road. And the reason I do that is so we're only using a small section of this road. So if anybody wants to pass, they have room they can see around us. If the pavement wasn't too good, I wouldn't be there. I'd use the road, but we're going slow since we're climbing. You can see I just stay smooth. I'm pulling back. I'm using the entire pedal circle. Our speed's dropping because of the climb and the wind. We seem to say 1%. It was more than that. It's at least 3.5 or more. And I know we've got a couple more.
Get down there.
Paul's talking about that gravel road to the left. Another unpaved county road. So you can see the rollers up ahead. And beyond that is another climb we encounter before we get to Highway 149 where we end the ride. As far as the clips anyway. So you always have to be thinking of what's to come. Don't spend all your energy before the ride ends. A lot of people avoid standing when they're riding because their fit is not done right to where when they finally find a comfortable spot on the saddle, they don't want to move. When your fit is right, it shouldn't be an issue. It should just be comfortable. You should be able to stand, sit, do whatever, and it's just comfortable all the time. You shouldn't have to look for a comfortable spot. It should already be there. But a lot of people think they can do their own fit and they spend years fiddling around and dealing with the aches and pains of stuff, you know. So if you're not dialed in, get some help. There's no point in going through all the saddle sores and discomfort and all that. There's a guy that came to the channel and posted that he bought an SMP, a different model, it's SMP Lite. and he said that he was having problems. He didn't know at the time he was not supposed to sit on the saddle or something like that. He was having discomfort, but he's had 2 fits. I told him, well, sign up for our remote fit, because until I know what's going on with you, I can't give you a solution to what may be causing your discomfort. And so I suggested that he either go back to the fitters he used if they had follow-up, or sign up and we can help him remotely. You know, so that's just the way it is. People come to the channel asking questions like you're supposed to just have an answer. You have to be willing to invest in your fit. Nothing's free. If you're not willing to, you will bear the pain of discomfort. Riders who are fitted ride in comfort. I see a lot of riders sitting on their bicycle like a toad sits on a lily pad. It just looks uncomfortable. That's why they can't get fit. You're not going to get fit if you're uncomfortable. You're not going to be riding. You'll have saddle sores and all of that. We come to this climb here, you can see it. It's after the 4-hour mark and it bites. Right about here it begins. It may not register, but I can pretty much feel it. Now look how long we've been on this road. Well, a couple of cars passed. That's why we come out here. Listen to that wind. Crest that, levels off a little bit. It says -1. This is more like flat to me. Yeah, it says -0. This part of this is a slight downhill, and then to the right we'll probably go back up. This is what we dealt with for hours on end, up and down. And out here in rolling terrain, you're not going to have a lot of drastic descents. Look at that. Look at that beautiful road.
Yeah.
So I told Paul. Look at that road. They'll level off and then we're climbing again. They don't look like much, but you feel them. This is the one, I think this will take us to 149. So as we approach 149, it's a climb.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
See where my hands are? That's where I climb. Opens up your chest so you can breathe.
Yeah. Man, that's what I'm talking about. Sweet. Yeah.
You can see me, I'm visibly pulling up. So you use all the muscles in your legs.
Quickly though.
Yeah.
Woo! Left turn.
Yeah. 149. Woo!
So I hope you all got a chance to get your K's in. This is what we did on Saturday.